Hello, everybody, and welcome to Edusations. I am Phil Strunk, your host, joined today by Stephen Keys. Stephen, why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself to the viewers?
Well, my name is Stephen Keys. I'm band director at Bondard Middle School in Frankfort, Kentucky. I teach grades 6 through 8, but also help with the high school band at times. Teach a few other classes in general music and such, and just really glad to be here, Phil.
Yeah, glad to have a fellow Star Wars fan on the show. You're a music teacher. One of my best friends is a music teacher. What led you to pursue this path or this career option?
Well, I think with most people, when they go into education, they really had an excellent experience when they were coming up through school themselves. I don't know any math teachers who say they hated math when they were in school and became math teachers. There may be some. I had a fantastic experience in my high school and middle school bands, and I knew that it was just a calling that I wanted to follow in my director's footsteps. But it wasn't until my master's degree, when I was working at George Mason University, that a passion for teaching really came about. The directors that I had there, their enthusiasm and their passion rubbed off on me. Their instrument were the kids, us kids in their group, and that really started to push me through teaching. So I got to give a big shout out to Anthony Maiello at George Mason University for really inspiring me to want to be a teacher.
I love how teachers, we all have like those one or two teachers that we can just look at and say, they're the ones that got us going on it.
That's right.
So what was your primary instrument or what is your primary instrument too?
I'm a tuba player.
Okay. I was an alto saxophone player. Well, I still am an alto saxophone player. So
good.
Got to put
My wife plays alto sax, so you can't be perfect. So
yeah. My wife is a trumpet player, and she always gives woodwinds a hard time. And I'm like, God, come on, LB.
That's what we do.
We need some love too. Part of being a band director and part of being a music teacher is picking different songs. Whenever I was in middle school, I would always try to convince the band director to pick different Star Wars songs, and he always said no. And it wasn't until later on in life I realized how challenging it is to pick songs that work for your groups and being able to acquire those songs. What do those steps look like for you whenever you're considering adding new music?
Well, school year's starting here in a few weeks, and I've been looking through songs to kind of get an idea of what I want my kids to play. A lot of it has to do with where they're at in their development. I may have some things in my life that I want to play with them and I want them to experience, but they may not be able to right now. And so at first, I'm going to pick music that will kind of refresh their memory from what they've learned before, and then we can kind of grow on. It's kind of like picking music is kind of like planning a menu. You have to have vegetables. You've got to have a little bit of carbs. You've got to have a little bit of meat. And then for the Star Wars, you got to have a little bit of dessert.
There you go.
The kids want dessert. I love dessert. But to grow and be healthy, it's got to be balanced. So I try to expose my kids to a lot of different styles of music. But a lot of it is their ability and where I think I can push them and where I think I need to maybe back off a little bit to do some review and stuff like that.
That might be the best explanation I've heard about how to pick those songs. That's really cool. Now, like being a music teacher, there's this constant reflection on the role of music in education because unfortunately across the country, different people or different programs are cutting music entirely out of their schools, which I think is a crime and a shame. I think that you obviously agree, and I would agree with you too, that the arts are incredibly important to education. Why don't you talk a little bit about why you believe music is so important to a quality education for students?
Well, I was having this discussion with some teachers the other day at a conference I was at, and in Kentucky, it feels like public education is under attack. And anytime education is under attack, they always go to things like the arts. They seem to be expendable. But in my classes, the students are learning so much more than reading music. They're learning confidence. They're learning interaction with other kids. I have 75 to 80 kids in a room at one time. They've got to work together for a common goal. And one of the biggest things that I tell parents and kids is if you can play a 16-measure playing test in front of your peers, when you go to science and you got to stand up and talk in front of the board, it's a piece of cake because you've already got those jitters out. And then when they get older and they go in for a job interview, they're not going to be nervous. They're going to be prepared because they've had to do it in front of people before. We don't just teach music. We teach life skills.
Right.
And I think, and no offense to any other teachers out there, but the kids would rather come to my class than your class any day. So.
Yeah. So what are some of the things in your class that you think make it so much like, I loved going to band too. What is it about band and about the arts that make it so compelling, content wise and including those things like public speaking?
Well, I've been doing a lot of thinking about this too. And a lot of it I think is in band or choir or orchestra or even like visual art class, you're always creating, you're doing something. You're, the kids aren't sitting there and just reading a passage out of a book. And there are those moments, and even with my middle school kids and my young sixth graders, that when they're playing together and there's that musical moment, everyone in the room gets a cold chill, and everyone in the room knows they've done something, and they know they did it together.
Right.
I mean, there's no bench players. There's no people. If you're sitting 14th chair trumpet, you're just as important as that first chair trumpet in putting the whole pot together. And so, I mean, it's just the fact that I think the kids they're creating, and that's what they want to do. They want to create.
Yeah, they feel like they're a part of something bigger. It's not. I'm not. The way you said, it's not that they're just reading a passage out of a textbook. It's that they're actively contributing to this collective knowledge or to this collective performance that they're doing the whole time. Whenever I was in marching band, our director always said, everybody is important here. Every single foot is being watched. Every single note is being heard. There's nowhere to hide. So contribute, be a voice, be present in what you're doing. And it sounds like you're doing that all the time too, which is awesome. Now, one of the things that I've really enjoyed with connecting with you, whenever I was in band classes and marching band, I had never really considered the power that tech can have inside of a music classroom, but you incorporate it very well. What are some of the ways that you use tech inside of your music classes?
Well, I do say this. What we do as far as musicians and band class and orchestra and choir and all, I try to incorporate the rest of them. It's really hard to put technology into it because what the kids are doing is a hands-on skill.
Right.
You can't learn to play the trumpet with a Chromebook. You can be inspired by someone. You can find some enhancement. But to do what we do, you got to put the horn on the face. My go-to application last year was Flipgrid. Whenever I would give a playing test, I like hearing the kids one-on-one. Mm-hmm. I like getting down and doing the dirty work because that's where you really get to fix them and make them better and inspire them. And when you got a class of 80 and you're the only person in the room, you're not going to hear every person. Well, Flipgrid gave me the ability to do that. I could assign a Flipgrid assignment on a Friday and say, you've got 2 weeks to turn in your Flipgrids. Then I could go have class. And then as they came in, I could listen to the kids, give them feedback. And if I heard something, then I could address them in class. But Flipgrid has been great for that.
With Flipgrid, do you let other people respond to each other or review each other's?
Well, I let them view them, and I let them get likes.
Okay.
I do teach middle school.
Yeah, right. Exactly.
And so when it comes to letting kids respond, I really want to get a feel for the group first. If I feel the dynamic of the group is where they can be positive with each other, because all it takes in middle school is one little thing, and all of a sudden you got a big blow up.
Yeah, it's tough.
But I will say I have listened to some of my kids before and after school, and they'll listen to each other's Flipgrids, and the things they say have been so positive.
Good.
Hey, I didn't know so-and-so could do that. Wow, they've gotten better. And so I'm thinking about opening up little by little to letting them comment. I make comments, and like I said, the kids will do it to each other in the room. Mm-hmm. But I've got to train them a little bit more to be more humans. That's part of the
part of being a middle school teacher.
That's part of middle school teacher. That's right. Another big one that I've been using a lot has been NoteFlight.
Okay.
Is a notation software, but they also have a section of it called NoteFlight Learn, which I'm able to type in musical exercises and send it out through Google Classroom. And the kids can then click on it, see it, play it, and send it right back.
That's
And
awesome.
so we're getting to the point where there's more things to do. But what we do is hard with technology.
Right.
And back when I was coming up, my very first principal said I needed to fill out my professional growth plan, and I had to put technology on it. And I told him, I said, that's not what we do. And he said, well, come up with something. And our big thing for my very first PGP was playing cassette recordings for the kids as models. And he was so excited. I mean, he went, check. And that's all he wanted to do. He wanted to just check a box off so that I could turn my growth plan in. We're getting there. There's more things for us to do. I've found several things that have been coming out here lately that I'm going to start implementing in my classroom. But a big thing for music ed people is we have to look at non-music programs and find out ways for us to use them. Flipgrid wasn't made for music.
Right.
But we can use it for that.
Yeah.
There's one called Insert Learning, where I can put questions inside of articles that I may see. I'm going to be using that one some. Screencastify is a really good one for kids to record themselves. So we're having to think outside the box to bring it inside our box, which is the band room.
Yeah, I love though that you're not trying to, take trying to fit like what's the phrase? Fitting like a round shape inside a square hole.
Yeah.
If it doesn't work, it doesn't work.
No. And that's where people get frustrated when they start adding technology just to be doing it.
Mm-hmm.
You get frustrated. And so I've done several presentations this summer on EdTech in the band room, and I always tell my people, find your problem that you need to solve, and then see if you can solve it with a technology.
Mm-hmm.
Don't just start doing things, because the kids will see that it really doesn't mean anything. It has no purpose. So, what problem are you trying to solve? Mine was assessment and hearing all of my kids. And that's when I started looking, and I came across Flipgrid for that. And it is so frustrating at times if you let it be.
Yeah, definitely, without a doubt. But I think that you're going through some great steps there. Are there any other tips that you'd have for teachers looking to incorporate ed tech into their classroom or in their band room in general?
One of the best things that's ever happened to me has been Twitter. Absolutely connecting with people on Twitter. I mean, that's how we got hooked up.
Right.
I think it was probably Mastery Chat, and then you started Wall Ed Chat, and we started hooking up that way. I have learned so many things by just hooking up with other educators. Don't go it alone. I put out a hashtag last night, EdTech Music, and I asked a couple of questions. I didn't know who was going to respond, and I got all these great responses, and I've got some new tools that I'm going to look at. But no, just look, get on Twitter, type in, anybody got any good things for music? And you'll be amazed at what you get. It used to be we were kind of stuck in our town with the interweb and Twitter and Facebook, and it's worldwide. You are not limited to your community anymore. And one thing that's been great about it, everybody has been so willing to share.
Yeah, isn't that awesome? I'm always amazed whenever people are like, "Hey, just like take this here. Like I made this.
Yeah.
It's like I don't have to pay $3.99 on like such and such place for it." It's like,
yeah. I mean, and usually I'm old school. I've been doing this for 20 years now. Mm-hmm. I know teachers who will create great lessons and then hide them because they're their lessons. Well, if they're great lessons and they work for your kids, shoot it out there and let it help other kids. And so far, everybody on Twitter, man, has been absolutely wonderful with sharing just some amazing things.
Yeah, I don't know if you've used these before, like with HyperDocs or anything, or anywhere else, but there's all these great different resources, and they're just always like, here, take this, make a copy, share it with your building and stuff. Wow,
the HyperDoc girls are awesome.
Yeah, they're incredible. I'm like, man, how do they? Yeah, I love them. They're great. I'm part of their Facebook group too, and
yeah.
I'm always like grabbing new things from them. Like, this is.
And you can take what someone else made, and within 5, 10, 15 minutes, you can tweak it to fit your needs.
Exactly.
I mean, and it's not like you're having to spend hours and hours and hours. Quit reinventing the wheel.
Mm-hmm.
Just retread it a little bit.
I like that. Don't reinvent the wheel, just retread it. That's awesome. One of the stigma stereotypes with band kids is that they become bandies. They become this really tight knit group. How do you think your use of technology in the classroom, and how do you just think you as the teacher help create that kind of culture in your own school?
I see my kids for 7 years. And so, whereas a sixth grade math teacher sees them for 1 year, then they go to seventh grade. And if that sixth grade math teacher stays in that room, then they get another crop of sixth graders in. I get to see these kids go from babies to adults. We had a freshman senior meeting before I got a hold of you to do this recording. And I've seen those seniors now for 7 years. They've grown up in front of me. So yeah, we do develop a family relationship. We have band directors have different relationships with their kids than other teachers do because we're with them forever. I've gone through all the breakups, all the crying, deaths in the family, joyous events. They share with me because they've seen me and they kind of trust what I do. And because I have such a large group, and my band kids are walking around the hallway, kids who I don't have in band, they feel like they can trust me too. If Johnny, who's in band, trusts him, Susie, who's not in band, will come to me and say, "Can we talk for a minute?" Sure, let's go in here and talk. So I think it's just building those relationships with a group of kids. It just starts festering and it starts moving out, and people kind of see that the band room is their safe spot. And everybody's welcome. I don't kick anybody out. Anybody's welcome to come to my band room. My door's always open. So I think it comes down to relationships. And just being. I have a tendency. Some kids think I'm mean. I'm really just sarcastic. And when you got 80 kids in the room, sometimes you got to be mean. But I really care about my students. I want them to do well. I want them to be, if they can learn to play their instrument, great. I want them to be good people. That's more important than anything. So,
absolutely. I love what you said about how, like you're not going to kick kids out just because they aren't in band class. Every kid in that school is one of yours. I think that's a philosophy more teachers need.
That's it.
Yeah.
If a kid walks through the front doors, our new sixth graders are going to be coming in a few weeks. Every one of those kids is my kids. I'm responsible for them. I may not have them in my class, but when they leave, they're going to talk about their experience at school, and I want it to be a positive one. I want, when they talk about what they did in their other classes, I want them to say positive things, because if it gets out in the community, we're all in this lump together. We want positive going out there, and it starts inside of our rooms.
Yeah, and you being on Twitter with that too. Eric Scheninger came to my school division and did a keynote speech in there. He talked about how if we don't share our stories, someone else will. So we might as well share it from the accurate version, from like somebody that's living there.
I tell all of my teachers, I'm trying to get them all on Twitter. Not everybody's on Twitter yet, but we're getting there. And I'm like, no one knows all the great things you're doing. So every now and then, take 15 seconds, shoot out a tweet with a picture, and let the world see it. Now, you may not have a following. You may have a following of 12 people, but somebody's going to see it who has no idea.
Right.
But eventually your following is going to grow, and they may share it with someone else. But just get the positive things out there that we do. It's great that they do good for me. I want everyone else to see how all the good things they're doing.
Yeah. Well, hey, Steve, I've really enjoyed this conversation. We've talked a lot about different like ed tech, band, and building that positive culture. We're getting to the point where we're at the end of our recording.
Awesome.
So we're gonna do some high fives here, just 5 totally uneducated or non-educational related questions.
Oh, Lord.
And you just give me the answers, okay? You ready?
I guess. Let's go.
Okay. First one, apples or oranges?
Oranges.
Okay. Me too. Second one, buttered or unbuttered popcorn?
Oh, it's extra butter.
Extra butter, right?
Extra
now,
butter.
do you like movie theater popcorn or like microwave popcorn?
I love movie theater popcorn. I'm addicted to it.
Yeah.
And the popcorn that you get out of the stores, for some reason, it'll say movie theater quality on it. It's not.
No, it's always
It's out of the machine.
Yep. We always get a large, and even though we won't eat it all, it's like, okay, we'll have a snack.
I have never experienced not eating it all. I can't wait to experience it at some point.
Yeah, and there's two of us and we don't eat it all. Okay, next one. Place in the world you want to travel to that you haven't been to before.
Bermuda.
Jamaica, we want to take you, right? Favorite kind of amusement park ride?
I'm a roller coaster person. I love the thrills. I love the moment of terror before you make that first big drop. I love it.
I love it. Rock and roller coaster. My first time was on it this summer, and man, it just shoots you out right away. It's like, holy cow! Like, I can't believe I'm going this fast. And last one, inspired by my wife's love of Olive Garden, soup or salad.
Soup.
Okay. I always try to like soup. I can never conquer that.
I have nightmares about Olive Garden, by the way. I used to work my way through undergrad at Olive Garden.
Oh.
And I was dating my wife at the time, and she will not let me ever go back to Olive Garden because she has that smell of me coming home from work of just covered in garlic. And but I'm a soup man.
Okay, soup man, Stephen. Okay, well, hey, Stephen, before we sign off, is there anything else you want to say to the guests or to the viewers?
This is a great thing. I'm glad you're doing this. I can't wait to see some of the other people that you have on here. And you may not think that anybody cares about what you have to say. When Phil calls up and says, will you be on my do it. It's fun. And hopefully, if nothing else, you get to reflect into a camera a little bit. But I want to thank you, Phil, for having me on.
Yeah, thanks for being on, Stephen. Hey, if you're watching the show and you want to connect with Stephen, you can find his Twitter handle in the description of the video below. If you like what you've seen, be sure to subscribe to the channel. And if you want to be on the show, go to philstrunk.com/contact. Thank you all so much for watching. Have a great day. Bye-bye.